Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam. Yasin sir.
Walaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum.
So why is everybody so silent? Why is everyone so serious?
Waiting, sir.
Once it started, people will start to smile more, sir.
I understand. I'm very sure. We can still smile.
This is
almost
exactly.
all organizers are only serious because they are getting in the people.
I know.
Yeah, this is exactly what I thought. So I was already on another assignment, so I thought not to break the silence. Let's enjoy some silence.
Yeah.
So
that's
how are
also
you keeping?
that's also required sometimes.
Yeah, great. How are you keeping, Mr. Dutta? Otherwise,
I'm
the process of
I'm doing
silent
fine.
transformation.
Perfect. In a good mood, nervous, as always, for the last 25 years.
I think it's time to start. Let's Mansoor.
Yeah, let's slowly and steadily start with.
Let's start in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
we have some background noises.
Background voice issue,
Yeah.
Shabir.
Background voice or noise? I do not have any background. Okay, sorry. I have unmuted my.
I think Shubbrato, you have got some background noise or
Me?
yeah, I think I'm just trying to. Can you turn on your mic? Can you see that? Sorry. Can you turn on?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
Okay.
Now it's better.
And
Now it's better.
do you still hear a background sound or something? It was just my fan, I guess.
I think so.
I'll have
Some
to.
sort of.
I'll have to check it out today.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
There's some wheezing sound is coming.
Then it cannot be from my mic anymore. This is pin drop silence.
Manzoor, can you check yours? I'm not sure where is it coming from.
Respected President of CIGI India, Dr. Yasin Ashraf sir, Chairman CIGI International, K. Mustafa sir, our keynote speaker, Shubbrato Dutta, distinguished dignitaries, seniors visionaries, leaders of headquarters, UK and various GCC chapters, CIGI family members and guests. Assalamu alaikum and wishing you a wonderful evening to all. I'm Mansoor, your master of ceremony today. It's my great privilege and honor to welcome you all to C Talks, an initiative by CIGI International with the concept of Global Connect. It's a series of talk shows. Conducted as part of CIGI's 25th year celebration under the theme Steady and work abroad. The objective of C-Talks is mainly introduce international career for Indian students, promote Indian students to study abroad, develop a global network of professionals for social transformation. We have a wonderful personality with us today, a training facilitator, a corporate trainer to talk about transformational leadership, and I'm sure all we are going to be benefited today. To begin the program by welcoming all of you officially, we have an eminent personality with a passion of igniting, illuminating, and intensifying. He's a youth development activist who's passionate about career guidance and community empowerment. He's a brand consultant in profession. Moreover, he is our present chief coordinator of CIGI International. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the ever-smiling Ruknuddin Abdullah to deliver welcome speech.
Well, thank you, Brother Mansoor, for the nice words and the welcome. Well, I first of all would like to welcome you all to the second session of C-Talks on the subject transformational leadership. We all know COVID-19 has changed how the world operates. In this change, many resistant and they lost their way of and their hope. And others, it took it as an opportunity. Leaders aren't immune to change or pressure. People expect more from their leaders at the difficult times. As a leader, we should be equipped to take up the challenges and convert these challenges into opportunities. At CIGI, we understand the importance of leadership and leader as a change manager or a change agent. And that's the very reason we are having this session today, having eminent personalities to host as a speaker. Let me not take any further time. Let me welcome our chairman, CIGI International, Mr. K.M. Mustafa, Dr. Yasin Ashraf, President of CIGI, Mr. Shubbrato Dutta, the transformational leader, our keynote speaker today, my fellow colleagues from CIGI International and from India, and of course, all those who have joined and accepted our invitations to be part of this transformation journey. I wish all the best to the speakers today, and let's make this journey a memorable one. Once again, welcome you all to C-Talk session number 2 on transformational leadership. Over to you, Brother Mansoor.
Thank you, Brother Ruknuddin Abdullah. Next, I would like to invite a special person who believes every day is another chance to get better. Amazing, right? I call him captain of ship, who really work hard to make this event into reality. A true example of a transformational leader, a simple and calm personality. He got decades of active involvement in social entrepreneurial projects, a passionate social activist. He is chairman CIGI International. It's my great pleasure and honor to welcome K.M. Mustafa Sahib to deliver chairman's address. You are muted, Chairman.
Dear CIGI President Dr. Yasin Ashraf sir, other leaders from CIGI headquarters, our eminent speaker, Mr. Shubbrato Dutta, guests and associates from other part of the world joined us. My colleagues at CIGI, dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum, wishing you peace and good health wherever you are. Since its inception, some 25 years ago, as a not-for-profit NGO based in Calicut, India, CIGI could help millions of students, parents, and teachers and institutions, primarily in the area of education and career guidance, focus mainly on grassroots and underprivileged sections in our society. With large Indian diaspora present in Gulf region, it was natural CIGI services sought popularity by many people here, and soon many support groups and well-wishers groups were formed to emulate the activities of CIGI back home, which eventually got formed into an umbrella organization called CIGI International. After achieving considerable success in the area of career guidance around us, both back home and here, CIGI has come up with a larger vision called Vision 2030. To briefly mention that, the 4 pillars of the vision are society empowered, society self-sufficient, and the society vibrant and influential by virtue of its character. There are many programs developed to realize this dream, vision. The talk series we call C Talks is one of such vision realization program. It's introduced at the 25th anniversary celebration that fall in 2020-2021. So this is the second series, as it was mentioned by my colleague. The aim of C Talk can be described in just 5-6 words: to inform, inspire, organize and network for a global engagement. Inform and inspire is what probably you will get more today, because our eminent speaker is an expert in that. He has done thousands of sessions or addresses in this regard. I appreciate his passion, and he was with us even out of his busy schedule. He has spent a couple of times with us to discuss the audience and the contents, etc. The second part, which means organize, which is past 20 plus years, we have a lot of people come to CIGI and gain insights, and they have eventually landed in good education from both premier institutes back in India as well as premier institute in the world, and now they are positioned in good places around the world. So we want to bring them back through this kind of engagement, the alumni of the CIGI over these years. And networking means we want to network with intellectuals like our today's speaker and those who will be we will be meeting during our journey, to work together to enhance education and living conditions around the globe. In other words, to make a better world by positive engagement. Now, why transformation leadership as a topic today? The persuasion is an important factor if you are to be a good leader. Everything that is going artificial these days, we are hearing that human brain will be outsmarted by artificial intelligence, robots, etc. I'm not a proponent of that, and I believe that will not come to that level. Like everything, machines will take over human. We know, sure, some 2,000 years back, Aristotle has introduced this, ethos, pathos, and logos as the main components of convincing or persuasive communication. That is still relevant, in the age of computers, and I believe it will remain so, as long as human being, exists in this form. So that is very important. We want to remind ourselves of, the art of persuasion and leading by example things, So we got a, very good, person to talk to us about that, and I believe. Being talk is the second level. Like, we have our thoughts, then we have our talk, then we have our action. So, we are already midway through this, the action plan. Okay, I would like to, before I go, I would like to put on record, my appreciation for the entire CIGI International, for Mr. Shibu and team, in Bahrain, to make it, possible to introduce Mr. Shubbrato to us, as he is known to them, very valuable corporate trainer, with big experience. So we are all looking forward to the key, event presented of the day. And I also would like to thank all my colleagues, to make, work behind putting this program together to make it possible. I wish you all, the very best. And looking forward to have a wonderful, afternoon. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mansoor.
Thank you, Chairman, for your encouraging words. Before moving to keynote speaker, we have a well-known personality here today to officially inaugurate this function. I'm sure is familiar to most of you, especially who watch Media Scan. A teaching professional, well-known journalist, author of many books, is an award winner of Professor M.M. Ghani Award for the Best Teacher in the Calicut University in 2003 and 4. He also won 5 Old Kerala Awards for the Best Newspaper Editorials. An active leader of CIGI from inception, a key role player in various significant policy making in CIGI headquarters, is current president of CIGI India. With all due respect, it's my great pleasure and honor to invite Dr. Yasin Ashraf sir to deliver inaugural speech.
Thank you very much. Chairman of CIGI International, Mr. Mustafa, Secretary, Mr. Ruknuddin, Mr. Shubbrato Dutta, my friends in the CIGI International and all other guests. Actually, I have been asked to start my video, but I wanted to explain that I'm playing it safe because my network connection is a bit unstable. So I'll just start without, switching it on. But I maybe in the course of my talk, I'll try if it is okay. So for the time being, please excuse me. Maybe I'll just try. So, okay, hope you can see me. Let's hope it goes smoothly because the net connection is a bit slow. Anyway, I think, this is a great occasion and a great, very happy, I feel happy and privileged to be here with all of you, especially with Mr. Shubbrato Dutta, whom I wanted to listen to very much, but maybe I'll be able to listen to him after this for a while. I should compliment CIGI International for this for organizing this C Talk series, especially on very, very relevant topics like leadership and change and so on. The C Talk series is a wonderful occasion for exchange of ideas and self-improvement, and also it helps in bringing together great talents on board, like our present guest. Leadership, it's about leadership today. Needless to say, leadership skills are, of course, essential for everyone, for anyone, because everyone, whether you are part of an organization, whether you are in the leadership of a movement or not, you are by birth, you are a leader. Everyone in his own way or her own way is a leader in some part of the life of another. As Prophet Muhammad, God bless him, famously said, everyone is a leader in his or her own capacity, her own way, and will be accountable for his charge. Now, whether you like it or not, you are destined to be a leader. And a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. He knows, he goes the way, practices what he says, and inspires others to follow him. The famous leadership expert, Warren Bennis, he died in some 7 or 8 years ago. He was an author of several books, about leadership, and he mentored hundreds and hundreds of CEOs. He was teacher at Harvard, MIT. He advised some 4 or 5 American presidents, including John F. Kennedy. Well, we are not talking about him here, of course, but there is one motto, one particular principle he always liked to repeat over and over again, and that is, leaders are made, not born. Leaders are made, nobody is born a leader. He calls it the most dangerous leadership myth to say that leaders are born, because that there is some genetic factor to leadership. That, he says, is nonsense. In fact, he says the opposite is true. Leaders are made rather than born. This is where we need to have training in leadership skills. We need to learn anew, we need to innovate, and we need to update. As Mr. Ruknuddin, I suppose, was saying, this, after COVID, COVID has brought about several changes in our lives. And of course, this calls for new kind of responses, not merely in our daily activities, but in our leadership style. And I'm sure that in programs like these, we will be recharged, we will be able to discover our innate talent, because after all, a leader is one who finds out the innate talents, innate genius in the people around him. Well, looking around, of course, leadership skills are needed for corporate trainers, corporate people, for people in the leadership of organizations, and especially for CIGI and the resource persons and leaders of CIGI. This, of course, is essential. But then I would wish, looking around, we would all feel concerned that the leaders, when we say leaders, we very often think of political leaders, leaders in the government, and looking around, we are actually amazed at the fact that so many of them are so ignorant of what leadership means. They neither have the hard skills nor the soft skills necessary for leadership. And the world suffers for that. In fact, much of the sufferings of our various countries can be decreased, reduced, if only our leaders learn to be better leaders. We only wish, for the sake of our own country and for the sake of the world, that our leaders become true leaders, genuine leaders with humility, compassion, and inclusive vision. And I'm sure that programs like this will inspire not merely the present audience, but the larger audience in the world outside, and contribute in our own way to changing the world for the better. I'm sure that you're all waiting for the chief speaker today, and I'll wish all this program all the best, and I declare that this program is inaugurated formally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Dr. Yasin sir, for such an inspiring words. That was an amazing speech as usual. To lead people, walk behind them. A famous quote by Lao Tzu. There are some leaders, we call them quiet leaders. They are the ones that lead by example. Their style tend to use rapport, inspiration, or empathy to engage followers. Their leadership approach that causes change in individual and social systems. Let's move to much awaited session, Transformational Leadership. We will have a question and answer session after this speech. He is going to talk about to cook. Wait a minute. I just borrow his words. Let's wait and see whether he's going to cook, to teach us cook, or cook up. Today's keynote speaker, known as a transformational motivation speaker, corporate skill facilitator, consultant in the education, a success coach. He has trained extensively all over the India and other countries. He has conducted various workshops, trained more than 300,000 industry professionals across the world. He has been into various domains of training and showcases expertise in various skill training. Moreover, a famous YouTuber, Shubbrato. We are fortunate to have such a vibrant personality here with us today. With all respects, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite our keynote speaker of the day, Shubbrato Dutta.
Thank you, Bansu sir. I hope everybody can hear me right and see me. There's no problem. Can everybody hear me?
I think your
Yes,
background
yes, we can.
noise.
Yes,
There is some,
Background noises.
Yeah, we can.
there is some disturbance in the mic.
There's some disturbance in the mic.
Yeah, background. Maybe you can switch off.
Okay.
There is some background noise.
Okay. Is that better?
Now it's better, yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the so-called PPT. I'm not a very tremendously PPT guy, but then this is a PPT which I had initially designed and planned for this purpose, and I'm going to share this one. Is the PPT visible?
Yes,
Okay.
very visible.
So before we start, let me tell you this much. I would like to really thank you for the opportunity that you have, all of you, bestowed upon me, and please accept the greetings of the evening and the day and the times and the greetings of life, I guess, from India. Pleased to see more than 100 participants, and I hope that the next 80 odd minutes that have been given to me becomes interesting, and we can talk about it later as time usefully accepted. I have been told that I've got exactly 80 minutes, and after exactly 80 minutes, a red dot is going to appear on my forehead. And after that, I may not be able to stand up, and I'll probably fall off from the chair. I hope you understand. It's a joke. The red dot means a bullet through my head. So I've been strictly given about 80 minutes. I understand an online training session or an online session like this is normally very, very difficult to deal with because it sometimes gets boring. So I would request all of you, and I can hardly see everybody on the screen, but I'm sure everybody is watching me. I would like you to speak up. Feel free to talk, even interrupt. No problem there. We will take it slow and steady, and we're going to discuss about 9 different points, which will also, you will find out, will overlap on top of another, because leadership is a very, very dynamic topic to discuss. Not only dynamic, it's very huge. And the best part, or probably the one part that is a part of concern, is it is a debatable topic, which also makes it a lot of fun. Leadership also is something which is different at different levels, different with different people, has got different meanings in different countries, and so on and so forth, in different societies, and so on and so forth. In today's discussion, we would primarily discuss leadership in general, but yes, with a twist and with a focus to social organizations. We will try and discuss as to, see, there are 2 or 3 types of leadership which are very prominent. One is the model leadership, wherein there is an ideal person and he becomes a brand and everybody wishes to be like him. Most of our film stars, most of our leaders, I'm talking about political leaders, but then not all of them, but many of these people who we follow because we have seen them on the screen and stuff like that are those kind of leaders. And then there are other types of leadership. There is a very interesting kind of leadership which makes people do things which they would do without being paid. So they would probably want to be a part of something because they feel for the cause. It's like the army or like a social organization. I am not trying to use the word social organization all the time purposefully, because let us also find out what others do and let us learn from whatever is happening other than social organizations, because then only we can probably merge knowledge from all the other places. Now, all of that put together, the businesses today which deal with a lot of leadership issues, they pay people to work for them. And then there are these social organizations like yours, the army, the different, sometimes the medical professionals. They work because they would like to be a part of something great, something nice, something beautiful. Now, coming to more different variants of what leadership is and how do we approach the understanding of leadership and what makes a beautiful leader, what makes a good, great leader, like we love to call it. We'll start with the very basics, but then we will not spend too much of time on that. Now, if I am able to ask you, if I'm allowed to ask you, how would you define leadership? I know there would be a lot of answers, and I'm sure most of you are been there, done that. So you've been leaders yourself, and you have seen leaders, you have met leaders. You have heard about leaders, and you must be having somebody in the name of a leader in your mind. Now, this one question that comes onto my mind is, before I go into talking about different topics which I have in front of me, I would like to ask you if you can remember a leader, and you may use that comment section, at the bottom of your screen or on the side of your screen to write down if you remember a leader who you would like to connect to, who actually inspires you, who actually makes you feel, my God, man, this gentleman or this lady is the leader I would like to become. Would you be having something like that in your mind? Anybody? I would like to. You can talk. You can unmute yourself and you can talk. Tell me a name of a leader, but just make sure he is not your present boss. He is not somebody present here. He is not somebody whom you have recently met and all of a sudden thought he was great. Tell us a name who you have been admiring and who you thought was wonderfully good. He could be anybody. He or she could be anybody. Anybody with an answer? You can write my father. Somebody has written my father, Dr. Abdul Kalam, APJ Abdul Kalam. Right, very nice. Okay, perfect.
I will say Indira Gandhi.
Message is
Indira
received
Gandhi?
from
Yes, why not?
AXDAKAART.
And somebody has asked me, should we take notes or will you be sharing the presentation? I can definitely share the presentation, but trust me, there is not much in the presentation other than the topics or the heads. What I would suggest is, I will let you know what to write, what exactly to pick up. If you do not remember, I would suggest that you listen and be a part of the conversation. But you have a piece of paper in your hand, so that when I say something which is a finer point, which I think would be beneficial to you or you would like to, please write them down. So see, all these names that you have written, starting from our parents to Dr. Kalam, to Gandhiji, to Indira Gandhi, and there is somebody who has written CH Muhammad Koya. I am sorry, I wouldn't know, but then we all have leaders in our mind. See, for me, anybody who has been able to persuade people to do something different or change lives, or has inspired people to wake up and go, is a leader. Now, it could be in business, it could be anywhere else. What we plan to talk about today is basically these. So we're going to talk about, okay, people are still coming in, so I'm getting stuck. Okay, so we're going to talk about the difference between leadership and management. See, there was a time when we spoke about being a boss and a manager, and then those became old school, and then now we talk about being a leader and a manager. So there was a boss, and then there was a manager, and now there are leaders. There's a difference between a boss, like there is a difference between a boss and a manager. Similarly, there are differences between a manager and a leader. We'll talk about that. We will talk in short because most of it would be known. And then we will go very deep into understanding the individual leadership qualities and the exact ways to manage those qualities. I'll tell you why am I talking about the exact ways, because what we will try and decide today, what I would want you to write down, really are formulas for these things. See, I'll tell you what, if I ask you, or if I today tell you sitting down that you need to improve your communication, this is like telling a child to behave well. Now, I'm sure many of you have your children, many of you have had children who are now grown up. Remember those days when you must have told your child to behave, huh? So your child, and say you have a son and a daughter, and your child is left home with his sister, and you are going out with your wife, and then you tell your children to behave, and you tell your elder, the son, to take care of the daughter, take care of the sister, and behave well. Now, interestingly, this is so broad that most of the time the child does not really understand. And I'm talking about training here, I'm not talking about leadership. Most of the time, the child, you might come back home only to find that the child and the daughter has had a quarrel or has had difficulties, or maybe they would have had a great time. The point of my saying this is, unless we go deeper and give them a checklist that this means bad and this means good and this means right and that's wrong, sometimes people do not understand. So what we are going to do is we're going to make a checklist of things which will matter when we try and communicate effectively. Why are we talking about communication so much? Because the primary and probably the most important thing that a child does is that a leader does is communicate. There is nothing more than communication that somebody who has been up there, who has reached that position where he is willing to become a leader or has become a leader or is in a position where he must lead, he needs to communicate first. And the communication is the answer or the key to most of the thing that we are going to talk about. Now, next comes goal setting and focus. Sticking to the mission and vision, inspiring and empowering, which means we will talk about passion, positivity, and emotional intelligence. We will talk about how to be able to take initiatives, the fear that we have in our mind, and how to overcome those in order to be able to take initiatives in line with the organizational design, with the organizational goals, but then to be able to take initiatives and not to shy away from doing new things. Then believing in changes or transformation, and then the most important is understanding flexibility and adaptability. Is somebody trying to say something? Okay, so probably flexibility and adaptability, and then decision making and its implications in a social organization. See, when we run an organization, when we are a part of an organization, one thing that is very important is decision making. Like I always say, please do not hold a meeting, please do not gather around, please do not meet people, please do not speak until and unless there is a decision that is being taken. Normally what happens is we do meetings, we do calls, we talk, and then we leave those calls without taking a decision. There's no point of a meeting when there is no decision that is being taken. And then we will talk about the headless chicken syndrome, which is the art of delegation. We'll talk about the influencing tactics, which means how do we engage people, how do we engage with people, and how do we engage people. We'll talk about the role of creativity to whatever amount we can, and then we will talk about the importance of interaction with people. Now, see, in front of you in the screen, I hope you can see the screen right now, and there are a lot of names which might have already come up in the chat section, and if they haven't come up, I'm sure they will when once you see them. These are people who sometime or the other, by some people or the other, it may not be universal, but these are people who fortunately or unfortunately have become well-known leaders of our times. And these are those people who, if you think about them deeply, and I would have asked a question, but because of the lack of time, I'm not leaving it open. But okay, take about a couple of seconds and tell me, what do you think made these people the leader that they have become in our minds today, in our minds and heart? Anybody? What do you think has made them the leader?
They inspire the people.
They inspire the people. Anybody else? Yes? Anybody else? Anything else?
They stood for the cause up to the last breath.
They stood for the cause. Yes. Yes. Anything else? I have something in
vision. They have a vision.
They have
role models.
They have a role model. Absolutely. I'll tell you what, all of this put together,
Grassroots level.
Grassroots, yes, working with the grassroots level, being accessible to people, meeting people where they are. Yeah, absolutely. And then the most important part that comes into my mind is they were all visionaries. So they had a dream. And I think the Martin Luther King, in most of his speeches, he always used to, you will find those videos on YouTube. In most of his speeches, he used to talk about he used to use this sentence, I have a dream, and that kind of became very, very popular amongst people. Without a dream, you cannot without a dream, you do not have a plan. Without a plan, you do not take the first step. And taking the first step is very important. Why? Because you cannot really stand beside a swimming pool, make your hands move and say, okay, I have learned swimming. So it's very important to go jump into something, dive deep, and then find out if you can swim or not, if I can swim or not. Now, it is very important for us to have a dream. Why? Because just for an example, I am a senior guy amongst a group of people, and I tell my people that, okay, tomorrow onwards, for the next 15 days, it's a holiday. And I ask them a simple question, when would you want to leave? I said 90% of these people will probably not have an answer, because they would not understand the question, and people who would understand that I am actually asking them if they would love to leave for a vacation, they will all come up with different answers. Somebody would say tomorrow 6 o'clock. Somebody would say I'm leaving tonight. Somebody will say I'll have to check. This is all because their destination is not clear. Once they know that, okay, I am going to this particular place, say for an example, I'm going to Goa, only then they will look for a purpose, look for a means, and then look for options available to reach the place. So in order to reach a destination, in order to reach a goal, we need to have a destination in mind, and that's called dream. So just about that, we will go deeper into understanding these. So when we talk about leadership and management, what do we talk about? We talk about a leader has a vision, and he doesn't do micromanagement. He doesn't manage people. He leaves people with a dream. He leaves people with a vision. But in order to be able to do that, they have to have risen up to that level where they would share a dream and people would want to or love to accept it. We will go deeper into understanding why people would follow me, why people would follow you, why would people want to listen to you, and why would people be inspired by you. It just does not happen because, see, I have always said this, leadership is not about an offer letter. Like somebody said, I forgot, I think, anyways, I think somebody said, leaders are not born, leaders are made, leaders are prepared, and he is absolutely right. I was so happy to hear that, because in certain times it takes me a little while to make people understand that leaders can be grown. And when I say leaders can be grown, we are talking about this particular situation when a leader is made to understand the nitty-gritties of why somebody would follow them. It is something that can be developed within us. So we're going to discuss in detail as to what are the different perspectives from where leaders are seen. Now, say for an example, I think all of you can see this gray square in front of you. Can you see the gray square in front of you, all of you? On the screen?
Yes.
Now, if I ask you,
Yes, sir.
yes, if I ask you to draw this square, is it easy or is it difficult? Is it easy or is it difficult? I say it is easy to draw this gray square. It's nothing. It's just a square and a gray color in between. But now, if I go forward and if I ask you to draw this, this would be a little more difficult than making a gray square. Now, why? Because this is about understanding a little deeper. You need to understand how many checks are there, how many blocks are there, what is the thickness, what are the thinness. Shanawaz Khan, you have written something. I think it's a mistake. I think you have chosen a pen and you are you tried to write something. But anyways, I just wanted to let you know that there is something coming up on your screen. It is very important for us to understand that leadership is about going deeper into things. Leadership is not about talking big. Leadership is no more about talking big. Leadership is about going deep down, mingling with people, communicating with people, being accessible, and then making sure people understand you and you have been able to understand people. Now, it would actually be the otherwise. You need to understand people first. I need to understand people first. We need to understand people first, and only then expect people will understand us. So now, like this one is a little difficult, which means these checks. I know when I go deeper into this, when this is the next level of leadership, the screen that is coming up in front of you is the next level of leadership. You know why? Because now, once the team is in place, once the picture is drawn, once you have what you wanted, then you create the dream organization. So in order for the dream to happen, there are steps that needs to be taken. You cannot jump into a dream. You can see a dream, you can show a dream. But then we need to understand that in order to be inside that dream, in order to make our dreams reality, we need to go deeper into things. Now, anybody who is having a paper and a pen and wanted to write down, I would request them to write down these 2-3 things. One, go deeper, interact with people, go mix with people, remain accessible. So, a high ego or a high nose does not work. The best leader of modern times is that who mixes around with the normal public. I can give you the example of Mother Teresa. I can give you the example of Barack Obama. I have been following a few other leaders. I know there are so many actually. There are a few other leaders I know who very interestingly have always been mixing with masses. So going and mixing with people, understanding who they are and what they are the most important things. So in order for your dream to come true, it is not only important, it is imperative that we need to go up to their level and work from there. Now, what is on your screen is an incomplete graphic. I tell you, most of the things that we are going to discuss are in front of you. Why is this incomplete? Is just one sentence which I would like to re-mention here, is because leadership, transformational leadership, inspirational leadership is a humongous topic, and you can only keep making building blocks and you can never expect it to actually complete. But then we will try and talk about one of the few most important things. Now we'll come to effective communication. I'll come out of the screen and let me see if I can see you guys. Can I request all of you or most of you to kindly open your cameras, because I would love to see you guys. We'll talk a little about perspective. I would like to do an activity with you guys. Can I do a small activity? I'm sure you guys must be thinking, how can we do an online activity? We will check this out. Okay. In my first screen, I have a lot of people. I can see most of you guys. Otherwise, if you're uncomfortable, it's fine. But try this out and let me know how does it feel. So, can you see me, all of you? Can you see my hands? Can you see my hands? Okay. So, I request all of you to do whatever I am doing. Okay? I request all of you to do whatever I am doing. All I have done is this. Clear? And then this. Try this. This is going to be fun. If nothing else, you will enjoy doing this. So I'll do it again. I'll repeat this again. I'm back to the hands being like this. And then I do this. And then I do this. Can I see your hands? And see, what I'm doing is, I am taking out those two lower fingers and pointing them out at my screen like a... Do not open your hands, just point them out at your screen. Okay, is the thumb free? This is important. Is this thumb free? Okay. Now, can you do this? Okay, I'll do this again. So the host has been kind enough to put the spotlight on me. You can see this. Okay, now if I do this and this, and I have done this, which means I'm pointing a finger, both my fingers up to you. My thumb is here, my other thumb is here, and then I am doing this. Okay? So how many of you were able to do this? Some people are still trying, I can see. Don't worry, if we have time at the end, I will tell you what this was. This is not a trick. This is reality. So this is called perception. How I see things that I do is different from how you think things have been done. So what happens is, most of the time when we try communicating with others, we do not wear their shoes. We need to see things from their perspective. Like it or not, this is the first rule of communication. I need to communicate from the perspective of the person who's listening to me. And this is also called WIFM. And if you want, you can write this down. It's called WIFM, W-I-I-F-M. You can do a Google search. This is not some WIFM, W-I-I-F-M. I will write this on a chat, everybody. I have written this on the chat. It's called WIFM. It's called, I'm writing down the full form of it. Remember this, because this is something that will be useful to you forever. The full form is, what's in it for me? Everybody in this world, you like it or not, you believe it or not, is looking for a whiffle. Which means every time I go up to somebody to discuss something, to offer something, to plan something, they are looking for a whiffle. And until and unless I have known their side of the story, their desires, whatever I say, however I say, doesn't matter. Okay, so coming from there, let us get into communication. Now, I do not know how many of you have gone through this, but this is very, very common, except for the fact that I'm going to probably try and do a couple of activities again, small, short activities to prove a few points. Now, normal communication is all about 3 V's. This is something that most of you know. Anybody who has ever attended a communication training program has known this. So it is, one is verbal, second one is vocal, and the third one is visual. Now, interestingly, visual communication is one of the most important. I can prove it to you right now. Visual communication is how I look, how I talk to people, and so on and so forth.
From +9182962904886.
So there is a situation all the time that sometimes we do not care about how we look and how we talk. The hand movements that we do are important. How we look is important, but even more than that, what's important is our facial expressions, how much energy we put in while we talk, and so on and so forth. So that's visual communication. And then there is verbal, which means the words that we choose, and then there are vocal. So we will not go too deeper into this. So these 3 V's of communication are important, along with, now okay, let us do a small activity which I wanted to do. I do not know, you guys might again enjoy it. A small activity. So again, do whatever I am doing. This will prove as to which one of the 3 V's, the verbal, vocal, and visual, which one is the most important, which one affects us the most. So all of you raise your hands like this. Anybody? All of you raise your hands like this. Okay. Touch your hair. Do what I'm doing. Do what I'm saying. Okay. Touch your hair. Touch your forehead. Touch your nose. Touch your cheek. I said touch your cheek. That's chin. That's chin. Samsudin sir.
It is not the cheek, sir.
I said touch your chin. Whatever I am doing is a different thing. But why did you guys touch your cheek? See, the point is, most of you, what happened just now is most of you were following my visual first and listening to me second. So that is how important our visual communication is. But okay, this was a childish thing. It was just an activity which I just wanted to do to break the boredom. What is important along with the 3 V's of communication, which we all do, is the importance of not delaying communication. So something that needs to be spoken about today or needs to be acted upon today needs to be acted and spoken about today. We should not be procrastinating things. Why is this important? Because the importance of anything that is today does not remain the same as in tomorrow. Even if the communication is right, even if the communication is apt, if the communication is delayed, the communication is missed. So the meetings that happen, the communications that has to happen at a particular time, of course we do go through problems, we miss out on communication times, but then those are the things that we need to take care of. I was planning to tell you about something very interesting. And can anybody tell me a sentence with three letters? Say for an example, three words. Say for an example, a sentence called "I love you." Now, the moment you say, see, every time you, or forget the "I love you," I did not say he stole my money. Okay, I did not say he stole my money. That's a sentence. Okay, the moment you emphasize on one particular word at a time, you'll find out the meaning of the whole sentence will change every time. So, for an example, in this particular sentence, there are about 7 different words. I did not say he stole my money. So, there are about 7 words. So, the moment I say I did not say, I emphasize on the word I, you'll find out that most of the time people will not realize, or people will understand that I is important. So, I did not say, he said it. If you emphasize on the second word, that is did not, and if you say, I did not say he stole my money, which means I did not mention anything about that. And if I emphasize on the third word, that is he, I did not say the fourth word, I did not say he stole the money, which means not him, somebody else stole the money. Cutting a very long story short, I hope all of you have understood that every time you emphasize on a different word, the meaning of the sentence, the whole meaning of the sentence changes. That's another part which actually means a lot when it comes to when it comes to communication. So we need to be very, very sure about when we talk about very, very sure about the emphasis that we make, the vocal, how we communicate, the way we communicate with people. Now, moving forward, how much time do we have? Okay, moving forward, we will talk about goal setting and focus, because when we are in a social organization, the one thing that is extremely important is to be able to make sure that we set goals and focus on it. I'm not going to talk about the benefits of goal setting and focus, because this is something that all of you know. I'm going to talk about the formula that you can use, or that we can all use, when we find it difficult to keep our focus to what we need to do. One key thing that comes into my mind amongst many others, and I'm going to only talk about one or two. One key thing that comes into my mind is the ability to say no. It is very important to be able to say no. You can write this down. Now, we come from a part of the world wherein we like to be loved by people, and we sometimes feel that it is not good to say no if somebody asks us for something, or if somebody tells us something that actually diverts us from the core area of focus. Now, how do we do that? What do we do? How do we say no? It is, like I said, it is important to say no. First thing, and you can write this down if you're writing this down. You can always use the word I understand what you are saying. Start your sentence in order to say no where you do not want to hurt somebody's feeling. When you do not want to hurt somebody's feeling, the first and the foremost thing that you can start with, like a formula, like a script, is I understand where you are coming from. I understand what you are saying. Now, when you are saying I understand what you are saying,
call from +918296290486.
Guys, you'll have to give me a moment. I was expecting a courier today. I think the courier has come. I need to just speak to this guy. Hello?
Some disturbance were there. How it come, I don't know. Now it's okay.
No. Hello? বলুন দাদা, বলুন। কালু কোথা থেকে? met with an accident. I'm sorry about this. And they need help. So we were talking about goal setting. So I understand is a word. Am I audible? Can everybody listen to me?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry for the trouble in between. I understand is a word which is very, very harmless. It does not mean that I agree with you. So you can write this down. I understand within inverted commas does not mean I agree. And you can always start a sentence saying I understand what you are saying, however, or but. So yes, but is a technique which has been used since long for such kind of situations where you would like to agree to disagree without hurting the other people's feeling. But then I'll tell you there is a problem with the yes but technique which has now been sorted out. The yes but technique, which means when I want to disagree with somebody, I would say yes, I understand, but there is a problem. Now that has been taken care of, that has been sorted out, because that needed to be sorted out, because when you say yes and a but, you are actually contradicting yourself. You are actually trying to say yes, I understand, which means I am with you on this one. I agree with you, not I understand, I agree with you, but I can't because of something or this or something. Now, this yes, but has been replaced by yes and an and. Now, you can write this down because you can use this more often in areas where you will be able to, where you will be required to contradict with people, where you will be required to let people understand that you are completely not agreeable to a particular situation or a solution or a decision that is being taken or has been taken. Now, why are we talking about this? Because these are very minute parts of communication which actually makes a person adorable. We cannot make everybody happy, yes, but then we cannot, or we do not need to make anybody unhappy as well. These kind of small tricks actually helps us in the practical life, in the practical field, while we talk to people, while we mix, interact with people. These kind of small things actually help us keep the bond together, actually helps us win people's hearts. So we can always talk like, yes, I understand. So for an example, I'll give you a small example to prove this point, to make you understand this point. Suppose there is a lady who has her son's birthday at home, and the lady is wanting to leave office by 5:30, 6 o'clock, okay? And just about at 5:30, since the lady has been a very hard-working lady, she has been staying back at the office by till 7:30 most of the days, because she's a very passionate worker at office. And this happens very often. Now, her boss probably does not know that her son's birthday is on that day, and her boss at 5:30 or about 6 o'clock at the last moment comes up with a presentation or a PPT and says, can you finish this off for me? Can you format this for me? And the lady is at stake. The lady has to say no because it's her son's birthday, but at the same time, she has no way to actually say no, because first of all, it's her boss. Second, the work is important. And third, her son's birthday is equally important. That comes only once a year. Now, how does she do it? What used to happen was, yes, sir, I understand, but it's my son's birthday. Sir, I understand this is important, but it's my son's birthday. I'm going to give you a trick, a long trick, okay? It's a very interesting thing. Listen to me carefully. Hear me out carefully, please. So first, what she can do is she can say, sir, yes, sir, I understand, and it's my son's birthday. So when you talk like this, what happens is you put both the issues at the same level. So both the issues actually are taken care of with equal weightage. So your boss also tries to understand. Now, what happens is very interesting after this. Now, this is not really a part of leadership here, but since I'm talking about this, and you might face a situation like this when you have to make somebody understand, or when you are dealing with people in general, when you are dealing with the masses. So what you do is you tell that particular person, now suppose the person says, why don't you understand? I have a meeting tomorrow and there's a Japanese delegation coming and I need to do this. So what you do is, sir, I understand. The lady says, I understand that you have a meeting tomorrow and there is a delegation delegation coming, and it is my son's birthday. When you say the whole thing out, you are actually letting the other gentleman understand, who means no harm really. You are letting the other gentleman understand that this particular situation is well understood and the son's birthday is important. So when I'm trying to make this understand to anybody, most of the people, and it has been seen that it works, most of the people understand. But all this time we will have to be polite and firm, but then it never goes on to something that is unnatural or unwanted. So that is one. Second is, do not say no when you want to say yes. Like right now what we have been talking about is how to say no clearly. And now we are talking about how to say yes when we want to say yes. I will not say no, because when I know that there is something which can actually work, this is something that needs to be done, we accept it and we say yes, and we say yes in front of everybody. So there comes inspiration. I'll tell you a small story with David Ogilvy. If you have heard about Ogilvy and Mather, O&M, the advertising company, David Ogilvy once called all of his directors, made them sit in a director's room, and the one thing that he offered was everybody in front of them, all the directors in front of them had this one thing called this Russian doll. Many of you are my age, but I do not know, many of you must have seen one of those Russian dolls. If not, I will have to take a picture and I'll have to post it there. A Russian doll used to be one of those wooden dolls, if you remember, which had this colored red and black color on top of them. They used to look like an egg, and when you open one of those, the upper part of the dolls, you will find a smaller doll. When you open that small doll, you will find even a smaller doll and a smaller doll and a smaller doll. So it's a doll inside a doll inside a doll, like that. So David Ogilvy, what he did was he had given one Russian doll to each of these directors. Now what happened was, David Ogilvy comes into the room, and the directors, naturally when they come in, they see a Russian doll in front of them, they start taking it in their hand and they start looking into it, and then finally somebody opens it and they find fun. So one of them keeps opening this Russian doll one by one. So, and when they reach the smallest doll inside and he opens it, he finds a small piece of paper inside it, and there inside the paper is written, "This is what happens to us and the organization when we mingle, interact and employ people who are not as good as us," which means who are lesser capable than us. Now this is one thing that always has been trouble, because we, especially in an organization where we are looking for volunteers, where we are all volunteering, where we are there because we would like to change, we'd like to see change happening. In an organization like CIGI, what is very important is we choose people who come with different ideas, who come with innovative ideas, who come with creativity, who come with innovation, who come with things that are, who come with things that will add value to the organization as a whole. And when I say organization as a whole, we are only talking about issues and concerns. We are looking for solutions. We are continuously looking for modes. We are continuously looking for different methods of approaching issues and concerns of the society. We require people who will come up with different ideas. Now, ideas do not come from people who are worse than me. Ideas will come from people who are bigger and better than me. And I should not shy away from accepting if somebody is bigger and better. Now, all of this put together, it is important, it is but natural that whatever we do, whatever actions we take while we are working somewhere or on something, we continuously work with better and better people. Now, next one is inspire and empower. And empower. We have all been talking about it, but I will go directly into something that is something that I really have used in my personal life. And I'm not talking about passion. I do not know if from the way I'm talking, you understand that when I do something like this, I try to do it with utmost amount of passion. Now, I understand I have used passion in my own life. I do this because I enjoy this. But I'm not talking about passion alone. I'm talking about positivity. And why am I talking about positivity? Imagine if you all have one good friend, one best friend, and I'm sure everyone has a best friend, or if any one of you has a friend to whom you go and vent out your feelings, who would you choose to vent your feelings out to? Who is that one person who would choose? Who you would choose? That, I mean, it is not a common person. It would be different for different people. But who is that person? Ideally, that particular person is that person who most of the time would probably listen to you with... I'm sorry. Okay. We are talking about one of those people who we probably go and vent out our feelings, and he always comes up with a positive thing. Say, for an example, if I'm going through a bad time in my office, okay, in my corporate life, in my office, and if I don't feel good, and if I go and talk about this to a particular friend of mine, what would I expect him to say? Would I expect him to say that, yeah, bad scene, man, what to do, I don't know? Or would I like somebody who says, don't worry, buddy, we'll take care of this. Come on, you know what you should do? You should go tomorrow, pull up a chair in front of your boss and say, boss, I know this is a mistake, or I don't understand where the mistake is. Tell me where is the mistake so that I can change myself, so that you know I can perform better. And he tells me that, look, there is no reason why your boss will not like you. And the boss understands that if he starts hating his people, he will remain a commander without an army, and that's not a very good leadership quality. So every boss understands that he needs his army along with him. And what happens at the end of the day is this particular gentleman will probably this particular gentleman will probably take care of the issue at hand. Now what happens is, the friend that I chose is definitely a positive friend. So positivity attracts. We would always have to have that open mind that is continuously looking for solutions, and always telling ourselves that anything that is happening has a brighter side of it. I know there was a darker side. Trust me on this one. I do not know how many of you have gone through my profile completely. My profile doesn't have everything, but there's a particular book which has a part of this story. I started my career, I'll just go a little bit into my own personal life. I started my career as a pickup and delivery boy after I lost my parents at the age of 17 and 19. 17, I lost my mother to cancer, and 19, I lost my father to a heart attack. And after that, well, we were not rich, but then yes, I could manage. I was just planning to try to start to work, and I took up my first job of a pickup and delivery boy with a courier company. Now, very interestingly, the job of a courier company or a pickup and delivery boy is not, or was not, today it is still okay, but during those days, and I'm talking about what, 28, 29, probably 30 years back, during those days, it was not something that people would really like. Trust me on this one, nobody would give their daughter to me. Well, that was the benchmark, कि तुम्हारा शादी नहीं हो सकता है. But then, look, you know what happens is, let alone the culture of the place, I survived. I did whatever I could. I cursed myself. I even was angry, I mean, not in the real sense, but I was angry why my mom and dad had to live at an age where I was not ready. And who would? I was not prepared. I just completed my education, thankfully, but I was not working. I picked up a job and I did whatever I could. And trust me on this one, it was that job, and everything that happened after that job is what has made me come to where I am today. Whatever small way I am adding any value to any person's life, I'm happy I'm doing it, because I continuously get feedback from people as to why they like me or they love me, and that is my pay package. And trust me, this would not have happened if those bad things would not have happened to my life. Which is why I completely reiterate that whatever happens always has a brighter side. It's only a matter of time, or it's a matter of inspiration, personal inspiration. And this is where I say it is a matter of our personal leadership skills. Personal leadership. Why? Because I needed to, trust me on this one, I needed to lead myself to a position, to a situation, and I'm talking about a 19-year-old guy about 30 years back, or maybe 29 years back, a 19-year-old guy trying to make ends meet, but not take on any wrong way, because that was a time when I didn't have my parents. I could have done just about anything. Trust me on this one. And yes, I had a lot of my friends who did things differently. I did not go and join them, and whatever has happened. But in that personal leadership, I did not have any skill. Neither did I understand anything about leadership or personal leadership at that point of time. But today, when I sit back, I only know one thing. I did anything that came by me, even that pickup and delivery job, with a whole lot of heart. And I did it completely because I wanted to do it. That is what I call passion. Trust me on this one, because I still remember in about 7 months' time, the same company, and I do not mind naming the company, and my ex-boss, who is still on LinkedIn and is in touch with me, the company called TNT Express Worldwide. During those days, they only used to do international ticketing, international couriering. Now they do domestic and international in India, but those days it was only international. I still remember my boss was a Panda. He was a Odisha guy. I forgot his name right now, but so that gentleman called me one day and he said, "Shubbrato, would you like to take up a job in sales?" Now, trust me on this one. Sales had more money. Sales people were the money earners, and we were the money spenders, being the pickup and delivery team. And when he called me and when he asked me to join their team, the second thing that came into my mind was, but why would you want me to join, sir? I mean, there are other people who are senior, more senior than me. Now, there was another situation which was not in favor of me, but which actually worked in favor of me. What was not in favor of me? The area that I was given to pick up and deliver letters. That particular area did not have a sales guy. Yet, in spite of that, the sales in that particular area, the clientele in that particular area actually increased, and my company, my immediate bosses believed it was because of my relation with the people I was picking up and deliver. It was because of that we were getting more and more business from them. And today when I sit down, I think of certain things that I used to do, and they might have worked. And trust me on this one, those days I did whatever I did, if I at all did anything, it was very naive. I did not plan, I did not know, I did not understand. But trust me, if I would not have gone by those days, I would not be able to get that example in front of you today. So if you ask me, all those things that I think is bad is actually good. Okay, now that is positivity. Now I'll come to EI, emotional intelligence, which I will not get too deep into. Most of you understand emotional intelligence. If you don't crack your brains on that, and we probably do not have the time for that. But emotional intelligence is basically empathizing, understanding another person from his perspective, understanding somebody by wearing their pair of shoes and not from where I am standing. So emotional intelligence is very, very important. It is very important to continuously listen to people. Listening is a very important skill, but we are not going there. Like I said, there are so many different skills which makes up a very nice, very good leader. Is humongous, and we cannot really discuss all of that even in a couple of days. Takes more time than that. But then emotional intelligence, or what we are talking about right now, is empathy, is very important. Empathizing is just being able to say I understand, and not only say, but being able to make the other person feel that he is understood, because of which we'll have to listen. Now I'll give you a small tip about listening skills, because we are talking about it and the word listening came out of my mouth. So most of the time what happens, now many of you have heard about listening skills, but I'll just tell you this and just pass over. So most of us, when we hear somebody talk, even if we are not talking, most of the time what happens is we are already planning what we need to say next. Match it sometime. When I have somebody else talking, and when it's a one-on-one conversation, and somebody says, you know what, I did this, and I went there and I told him this and I told him that, what happens in my mind is I start thinking about what to say about what I had done the moment he or she finishes. In the process, what happens is I have not actually effectively listened to what he has said or she has said. What happens is their communication breaks. So it's important to shut up and listen. I'm sorry for using the word, but then it makes sense. It is important to keep your mouth shut, sealed, and listen. And then take 3 seconds time, 4 seconds time, plan up what could be your answer, and then maybe we can talk about it. Okay, one thing that I want to do with all of you is an understanding of a little bit of I'm sorry. Okay, we'll do it later if we have time. Sorry. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll do a small. It's an exercise, but then I want all of you. You do not need to show your video, but do this. Can all of you listen to me? Just unmute once and say yes, and then you can mute yourself. Can all of you listen to me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Even one answer is fine enough. So I would like all of you to do this in your mind. Take a second, no problem. Take 2 seconds. In your mind, draw a picture of a house. In your mind, draw a picture or imagine a picture of a house. Have you imagined? All of you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, remember what you imagined. Now, next, imagine a house. Imagined? Okay. Now, enter a house. Now, how many of you imagined, drew, and entered the same house? How many of you did not enter the same house? Somebody has written something. Let me check. Okay. Somebody has written Y, which means yes. Okay. Entered the same house. Okay. Okay. Same house in the sense you entered your house, is it? You guys entered your house. The house that you would have drawn would have been different. The house you would have imagined would have been different. But when you enter the house, you have entered your own house. See, this is how the human brain works. You might imagine something, but then when you enter the house, when you are practically on the field, you become very practical and you start imagining or you start seeing things that you are into. So you know what happened with me when I did this exercise, and somebody whose training session I was doing, I was attending quite a few years back. When he did it with me, I imagined a palace. When somebody said draw a house, imagine a house. Then when somebody said draw a house, I drew a house which I used to draw when I was a child. So there was a hill, and there would be a river, and there would be some banana and coconut trees maybe, and there would be a small hut and stuff like that. And when I entered my house, I entered the government quarter that I used to live in with my mom and dad. So interestingly, how we interact with people is all about this. How we interact with people is basically about understanding why and why not we say things, because we probably in the most obvious situations we think about things that we are into and we do not easily see change. Now this is why I did this small thing, because we are now going to talk about belief in change and transformation. Showing people change or making people understanding change is a difficult thing, because it's not something that I am into already, and it is very difficult to break away mindfully, break away from what I am into right now into something that is that is new or that is being dreamt of. Until and unless we have seen bits and pieces, but it is like a train which everybody wants to board once it has started. A train which does not say where is it going to go is not a train which anybody wants to board, right or not? Now, if that is the situation, there comes the dream, there comes the significance of the dream, then comes the importance of the dream, and then comes people who will probably join us in order to make sure that the dream comes true. Now, there are two ways we can do this. One, we can make people realize that there is no other way other than the change, and there are other ways of doing the same thing. There is another way, and that way is making people believe that a change is important. It is not that we will die without that change, but a change is possible. And most of the time, as a social organization, we talk about change that is possible. I was looking at a video from Bangladesh just about 2-3 days back. In fact, a Bangladeshi news channel. And very interestingly, I saw there was this girl who are called, in Bengali, they're called Bede. In English, they are called Bedouins, but they're not the Bedouins as in Arab countries. We are talking about, people who wander from place to place. And there was this girl who was asked by a particular reporter as to, does she want to change her life? And the girl says, no, I'm doing pretty fine. Now, trust me on this one, this is a humongous work in this society. The girl has an opportunity right in front of her. It's a channel which could help her. It's a channel which makes people fulfill their dreams, but she is not willing to opt for that dream, opt for the new change immediately, because we most of the time are happy doing whatever we are doing, whatever we are already into. Now, this is why believing in change and transformation is important. We have already spoken about pro-initiative approach, which means if there is an initiative that needs to be taken, it needs to be taken. We should not shy away from initiatives. We should be able to act on ideas. Ideas should be welcome, and that's what makes a great leader. A great leader works with people. A great leader empowers people to think. A great leader empowers people. We talk about empowerment. This is that empowerment probably. We talk about empowerment. We are talking about empowering people to think deeper so that they become engrossed, they become involved. And trust me on this one way to involve people, and this is something that you can write down if you're interested, if you think this is important, it is something that we will require. One way to get loyalty from people, one way to include people with higher amount of loyalty is to be able to give them responsibilities. People in general love responsibilities. They feel great about it. They feel wanted. They feel needed. So sometimes we think twice before giving people responsibilities. More often than not, mark my words, quote unquote, more often than not, people love taking or being given responsibilities from their heart. If given with the right spirit, which means if given with enough amount of support, if given and then hand holding is done, I think people love to take responsibilities. That makes them take more initiatives. That also makes sure that these people will, the teams, the smaller teams, the colleagues will be more passionate about the work that they're doing. Next is decision making with empathy. We have spoken about it. I would just talk about two things, cutting a very long story short. One decision making style, a formula, is being able to ask 7 whys. Suppose you found something, suppose if there is a problem, there is an issue, there is a concern with something, the one thing that can always be done is to be able to ask why. So for an example, if there is I'm giving you an example from a corporate, I am not able to think anything in general. Suppose for an example, a guy who is good at his work comes to office late for the last 1 month. Now it is important. Now when the office starts at 9:30, if he's reaching office every day at 10:30 and he's late, and somebody from the HR team has come and told you, sir, I would like to let you know that this gentleman from your team for the last 1 month is coming late every day. Someday he's at 9:45, someday he's at 10, someday he's at 10:30. You must do something about it. Now, had I been in that senior man's position, if I would be in that manager's or supervisor's position, this one thing that I would do is probably speak to him. That is number one. Number two is ask him 7 whys. So I would ask him, why are you late? He would probably say that I am missing the bus that I need to take. I'll ask him, why are you missing the bus? He will say, sir, because I am getting up late, and I have to then get up and get ready and so on and so forth. So I'm getting up late. I ask him, why are you getting up late? Because I'm going off to sleep late. Why are you going off to sleep late? Because I am reaching home late. Why are you reaching home late? Because I'm leaving the office late. Why are you leaving the office late? And you might just be able to find out that every day evening he comes out from his sales calls to the office, and before he plans to deposit his papers, he needs to take photocopies, and probably there is one photocopier machine in the floor, and that particular photocopier machine has 7 people, 10 people standing in front of it waiting for their own photocopies. So he gets delayed in logging in his details. I'm just giving you an example. This is an example of something that really happened. Honestly speaking, from the first thought process, what would come into my mind is this particular gentleman is late because he is lazy. He is sleeping late. But when I ask him 7 whys, now when I say 7 whys, it is not necessary to ask 7 whys. You can ask him 5, or you can ask him 4, or you can ask him 17. But the more whys we ask, the more deeper we get into the root cause. It is not root cause analysis really, but the more deeper we get into the root cause. So one way of getting to the bottom of a situation, getting to the bottom of a concern or an issue which has come up in a work mode, in a work situation, is to be able to ask whys. Now, why are we talking about asking whys, or why are we talking about this in a leadership program? Because again, these are the small things which makes us worthy of leading a team. Decision making is important. And the next one is another decision making technique, which is not a big deal. It's called star bursting. You can read about it on the internet. It's not something that I have made up. It's a star that you draw, which has got about 6 corners, and we write the 5 W's and 1 H, which is which, when, why, how, where, and what. So these 5 W's and 1 Y's are written, and then answers to those whys and hows and whats in perspective from the issue or the concern is written down to get a visual picture in front of you of the problem. This is a long program, but then it becomes easier that way. If you can do a little Google search or something, you will find out exact way to use it, or you might get in touch with me directly. I would love to explain to you. But this is something that is used, called star bursting, and this is something that is used in order to create decisions. Delegation. Most of us know what is delegation. Most of us understand what is the importance of delegation. Why is that photograph of a chicken without a head here? Because it's called a headless chicken. So there is actually a book called The Headless Chicken, which means the chicken is moving around without knowing what to do, when to do, because there is too much of work in his hand, or too much of work on his hand or on her hand. Now what we need to do in such situations is to be able to understand who to delegate what. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use a whiteboard, and let me see if I can everybody see the whiteboard? Okay, I'm drawing a graph here. I'm sorry, you'll have to pardon me. I can use the whiteboard behind me, but this is a better one. I have drawn this, and this particular portion, this arrow here, this is the axis called willingness. Okay, I'm just writing W because writing the whole thing is very difficult. But if you are writing it down somewhere, you can write down. This is the willingness and ability matrix. This helps a leader understand people who can be delegated work to, who can be improved, who needs hand-holding, and so on and so forth. So as leaders, wherein we are working a lot with people who have volunteered to work with us, we are working with people wherein we are trying to create an organization within an organization, a non-profit organization, but an organization within an organization. We are trying to create small teams. We are trying to create rooms inside rooms. We need to analyze each one of our people on this matrix. Now, this one axis, that the axis on the right, on the left is W, this one, and the axis here is ability. This is ability. Now, if this is W, willingness, and this is ability, I do not know if I can write. Okay, I can text. I can write willingness, and here this is ability. Okay, so when we say willingness and ability, here are people. One second. Draw. Okay, here are people who are high on willingness and very low on ability. You can do this if you know your people by heart. Here are people who are high on ability and very low on willingness. Here are people who are low on willingness, and I will tell you what to do with these people. And low on ability both. So they are unwilling, these people, they are unwilling and they are unable. And here you have people who are high on both willingness and high on ability. You can actually name the people here. Write down the names of people who you are working with and find out who are the people you can work with under what circumstances. So for an example, if you have a high willingness, low ability person, he should immediately be patched up with a high ability and low willingness person, which means he is low willing. His willingness will go higher up when he will be given responsibility, when he will be probably used to mentor people who are with high willingness but low ability. This gentleman is going to feel great. His motivation will increase, so his willingness is going to increase, and he and this gentleman will both benefit from each other. This gentleman is the gentleman who is willing, or who is probably the next person to take your position up. He is high on willingness, high on ability. He is motivated, and he is the guy you would love to delegate. This is the guy you will be able to delegate to. Here is a person who you will need to understand very carefully. Here is a person who has got no ability and no willingness. The first, let me give a small example before I go towards the end of the program. The important part is, if you remember when you were in school, the subjects that you hated sitting through. In school, I'm talking about when you read history, when you read English, when you read biology and chemistry. If you remember the subject which you hated, think about it and probably write down if I'm okay, and if you can connect with me. Those were the subjects you did not understand. If there was a subject which you understood, you loved sitting through because you felt confident about it, and you knew if your teacher asks you a question, you'll be able to answer it. So, sometimes your increase in ability increases your willingness. So if there is a gentleman who is low on willingness and low on ability, there is a huge possibility that you can take him through, or the gentleman who is supervising him can take him through a little bit of learning. Now let me tell you, all of this applies to all of you as well. So this is a situation wherein if you are new to something yourself, you can lead by example. You can lead by increasing your knowledge about the subject. You can get deeper into the subject. You can have a deeper understanding, and you'll find out that your willingness will increase from via media, the confidence that you'll gather out of your knowledge. So like Dr. Abdul Kalam had once said in an interview, confidence comes from knowledge. And from confidence comes passion. See, knowledge, confidence, and then comes passion. You cannot show passion into some work, you cannot involve, you cannot engage into work until and unless you are confident about it. And in order to be able to be confident, you need to have the right kind of knowledge. So I am stopping this screen share and sorry. Okay. And I am going to the next one from the art of delegation. This is probably the last one, last but one. Influencing tactics. Influencing is very important. In order to be able to influence, we need to learn to do one small thing. I do not know if I can do it here. Is Shibu here? I have Shibu's WhatsApp number. Shibu, okay. I'm going to do a small activity with anybody else other than Shibu, but I'm going to send Shibu a WhatsApp message right now. Shibu, all you have to do, it's a very interesting thing and it will be a learning for life. Trust me, guys. And you have given me so much of time. Give me another 5 minutes or maybe 7. And I should be able to. Shibu, I have sent you a WhatsApp message. Just see it and keep it with yourself. Don't talk about it to anybody. Okay, Shibu, have you got it?
Yeah, I got it. Yes.
Don't talk about it to anybody. Now, everybody who is present here, what I have done is I've sent Shibu a secret message. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I need a volunteer from the rest of you. Who is going to be a volunteer? There is one gentleman who is looking. Anybody who is a volunteer, please tell me. Anybody who is a volunteer, anybody who wishes to be a volunteer other than Shibu.
Can I?
Who is it?
Can I? I'm Fatma Puttiyan.
Yes. Can I see you? Can he be put on screen on the large screen?
Yes.
Can he be pinned?
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm going to ask you a few questions, just 2, 3, 4 questions. All you have to do is to keep answering me. I'm going to write the answers here. Okay? I can do it on the board as well, but I'm going to write the answers here. This will do. I have a whiteboard marker with me. So, sir, tell me, how many months are there in a year?
I have to say?
Yes.
Months. 12 months.
12 months. I have written your answer here. 12 months. Can you see? Okay. Yeah. So, out of this 12 months, if I ask you, what are your favorite 6 months? Which ones will you say? 6 favorite months. Any 6, but you have to remember those. So make it easy. Though I'm writing it down for you, but make it easy. Any 6 of your choice. January, okay.
March.
Okay. June. Okay. August, okay. Okay, August. 2 more. Quick. October.
And
December. Okay. Okay. So you have said Jan, March, June, August, October, and December. Which ones are left, sir? Quick. This is easy. Which ones are left?
Not clear.
Which months?
February, April, May.
Okay, February, April, and May, and 3 more months. July. Yeah.
September.
Yes, September. November.
November.
Yes, November. Okay. Now, out of these months that you have said just now, okay, which are the 3 months that are your favorites? These months, out of these months that you have said just now.
April, July, and September.
April, July, and September. Which ones are left in these in these 6 months?
Now February, May, and November.
Okay. So February, May. So you have said February, May, and November. Out of these 3, which 2 are your favorite? Name any 2 which are your favorite.
February and May.
February and
May.
And May. Okay. Now, out of these 2, February and May, which one is your favorite? Out of February and May, which one is your favorite?
May.
You said May?
Yes.
Okay. So you have said May, I've cut May. What is left?
Now February is left.
February is left. Now, in this particular month, there is one day which is internationally famous for youngsters, young generation boys and girls across the world. They normally wait for this day in the whole year so that, with a lot.
Yes, Valentine.
Okay, what is the
Valentine Day?
What is the date?
Valentine Day date is 14, I think. I don't.
Yes, you are right. You are right. 14th February, right? What is the very next day? What is the very next day? 15th. So 15th February. You said 15th February. Now, Shibu, tell everybody what have I sent you. Now you are muted. You are muted. You are muted.
The message was 15th February.
Okay.
Wow, super.
I tell you, there's nothing super about it. You know what has happened is, I've just proved to you, all of you, that you can actually convince or influence somebody without making a statement. It is possible to change somebody's thought process. It is possible to make somebody understand your point of view, or you can take somebody to a direction where you want them to direct, where you want them to go, only by asking questions. See, what I've done right now is I have not made one statement. I have only been asking questions. The answers were yours. The answers were your choice. You chose, you took your time, you chose your months. The only thing that I probably did was I asked you the right question, if that is what you want to know. All I have done is I have
Guided questions.
Corrected questions.
Guided questions.
Directed questions. My questions were open-ended questions and close-ended questions. I'm not going into details of such things. This is we are running out of time now, and that red dot will appear very soon. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just end. I still have one more slide or two, and I specifically would like to show you the last slide, which I'm sure can be used with your youngsters as well. But hence, okay. I will end with a question here. The interactive leader. Not a question. I will now tell you an incident that has happened with me. This will take another 4 to 5 minutes. But this is an incident with an army officer and me, which changed my life. Okay, I used to be a trainer with an organization called DGR. DGR is Director General of Resettlement of Armed Forces. I used to train the people from the armed forces, air force, all the three forces who were about to be retired or who were taking voluntary retirements and stuff like that. The training mostly is to make sure they can come back to the social this society that they had not lived in, because they are army people. They have been living with army people only. They have been living in amidst people who were with the army. So it was that kind of a training. So during my training program, one particular day, what happened was I met this one gentleman. Let me see if I can show you a photo of that. Okay, so I met this one gentleman who was a colonel in the army. And this particular gentleman was very interesting. He was very down to earth. I trained him a few times, but then he was a much senior guy. So one day I was visiting this place called Ambala in northern part of the country, and there is an army cantonment, and he was heading the army cantonment. He was the chief. He came to know that I was there, and he said, "Mr. Datta, why don't you come over for a cup of tea?" I was elated. I went, and what happened was this particular gentleman, when I entered, there was this huge hall, and he was sitting on one end of the hall. He had this huge table in front of him, and of course there was this Indian flag and the army flag behind him on the wall, and all that happens, a table and a big chair and everything, all the government things. And what happens was, when I entered, he asked me to sit in front of him. He said, "Mr. Datta, please sit." He shook hands, and all that happened, all the greetings happened. And the moment I sat down, right in front of me on the table is, on my side of the table is a copper plate. How do I show you? The plate was like this. The plate was like this. It's a long copper plate like this, and it looked like this, and on top was something written which was engraved. It was not a piece of printout taken from a computer or something. It was engraved, and it was a sentence. And if you want, what I'll do is I'll write down the sentence for you guys, and the sentence is very, very important. The sentence changed my life. The sentence was, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to be silent. You can see what I'm writing. Can you see it? It's a sentence. It's a short and sweet sentence. It says, the answer is yes. Now place your request. I request all of you to take out I would request a minute, but then take out a second, a couple of seconds, and see how deep this thing is. And imagine anybody, forget an army colonel. Imagine anybody who has the guts to write this. He says, even before knowing what's your request, he has engraved and written in front of him, the answer is yes. Now place your request. Now, my question, how do you think he's going to manage his people? So there is this gentleman, one of his army people. He has probably come back home let's say some 7 days back after a 15-day leave. And within 7 days, he has come in front of him and it says, "Sir, I needed leave for another 7 days. It's my brother's marriage ceremony." Okay, Shafiq sir has said the answer is yes. Now place your request. Please elaborate. See, what he is saying is, he has already written it down. The answer to your request will be yes. Now tell me what is your request. That's the elaboration. But now I am telling you what kind of a person would write that. And I'm now, before I tell you that, I'm giving you a situation. Now, this particular gentleman who is working in his team, he has come back home after 7 days back, after a 10 days holiday. And he has again come back to him asking for another 7 days of leave. How would he manage? Now it is obvious that he will not get another leave of 7 days because he has just come back from a leave and there are so many people looking for that leave. How would you think he will, how do you think he is going to respond, manage, or in colloquial terms, how is he going to handle this situation? Anybody? Let me give you a clue. This is a leadership question. If you know the answer, see, we all can be right or wrong now. This is like taking an initiative. Do not shy away from answering, because like I tell you, in a training session, no answer is ever wrong. In a training session, everybody, okay, somebody said, I understand technique. Okay, okay.
Ask your why.
Asking a why will be an answer to a different thing. Asking why is good, it's okay, but when you ask why, he would say it is my brother's birthday, brother's marriage ceremony. Then he cannot ask why is your brother marrying. And he says because my brother has found a girl. Why had he found a girl? He cannot ask that. No, but here it will be a different. See, this particular situation does not have. Okay, so somebody has said yes, you can take next time. So next time you. So Naushad sir, you have written yes, you can take next time. So what you are hinting at is this is not your last marriage. When you get married again soon, you take your break. Okay. Okay, what we will do here is we will try and understand this small part. See, this gentleman is a leader. He is a leader of leaders. He is so confident as a leader. He is so convinced. It is called conviction. His conviction is at that level that he knows nobody would ever come to him and ask him and come to him with a request like that. Before coming to him with a request like that, the team is so motivated, the team is so passionate, the team is so together that they know that look, the answer is yes. There is no question of going and finding out what could be the answer. The question is, should we go up to him with a question like that? Leadership. I'm sorry.
He needs to tell the staff that I'm always interested in your interest. I'm here to keep your interest.
True. Yeah, absolutely. What we can also understand from here, sir, is that sometimes we as leaders go up to that level of leadership from our mind and heart, that we are convinced that people will not come back to us with during this trip, have you met with a life partner? No, it is not him that he is getting married. His brother is getting married in this situation. So let us understand the situation here. The situation is simple. That gentleman, his name was Colonel Shailendra Chaturvedi. He was such a charismatic leader. He was such a passionate leader that he had a team who knew that his team will never come up to him with a question like that. And his team knew, if I go, I will hear a yes. Should I go with a request like this? Will I not lose my credibility in front of my senior, in front of my commander, in front of my colonel? So a colonel has risen up to that level of leadership where he knows nobody will come up to him with that. But it is a feeling of a leader inside. The question here is not about how he is going to handle. The question here is actually why he doesn't have to handle such a situation. The question is, when he has written that down, he is convinced that his team he has been able to take his team up to a level where nobody will ever come to him with a question like that. And you understand that being a trainer, I asked him this question, being a trainer sitting in front of him, I asked, sir, this is very interesting. How would you manage if somebody says? It was him who told me, and let me tell you, he was the gentleman who gave me a letter because of which I got a passport for myself. Those days were the days when I was looking for a passport for myself. Now, my first passport ever. And this gentleman was such a down-to-earth guy that I understood him very well when he said, Mr. Datta, in my team, if somebody has known me even once, if somebody has met me even once, they know I will never say no. So they are responsible enough to realize that they cannot come to me with an irresponsible request. So my answer is there. My understanding is there. We need to become that particular. I do not know how many of you understood. Did all of you understood the whole scenario, the situation?
Yes.
Okay, I hope so. It is not too difficult, but yes, you do not get a direct answer to this one. The answer to this one is a little different from what we are expecting. The answer is simple. The answer is yes, but people are more responsible, more passionate, more involved, more engrossed, which is why they will probably not come to him with requests which are undue. To end the session, this is the last slide, and it is one of my favorite quotes, and I have always personally believed in this, and I have always shared this. If you think you can, or if you think you cannot, you are always right. Well, that's the end of today's session. Either I have done a very boring session, which is why everybody is only staring at me and nobody is actually saying a word, or the session was good enough, which is why everybody is silent and still thinking. If I have been able to add any value to any of you, I think I am happy. I will sleep peacefully tonight.
I think people are awestruck, That's why they are not speaking.
I'm sorry.
They are awestruck, wonderstruck.
Thank you, sir. From you.
Responses are there in the chat box.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful session. We will have a question and answer session.
Yes.
Another 10 minutes.
Yes.
And to handle the question session, I will invite CIGI International Vice Chairman, Dr. Sunil Shamsuddin, please.
Good evening, Dutta sir. Very wonderful session.
Thank you, sir.
I have to appreciate you for two things. First thing, being a trainer and you are used to conduct training sessions, standing, using whiteboard and all those things. I can understand how much difficult it is to sit in a chair and try to make this presentation and make us understand the drawings, even the question answer sessions also, what are the games, what you have done is also fantastic. Second thing, I bow my head. You have taken a 80-minute stretch session for us without starting with the same enthusiasm as you started, ending it with the same enthusiasm.
Thank
Really
you.
remarkable one, sir.
Thank you so much.
Now, I request the audience, I borrow the words of Datta sir itself. The answer is there. Now you place your questions. If anybody wish to ask any question directly, please.
Let me start. So may I start with my question?
Yes, please.
Please mention your name. It would be nice for us to identify you also.
I'm Shabir from Dubai. We talk about transformational leadership and transactional leadership. And transformation leadership is one of the. It's not the new one, one of the latest, or everyone wanted to be a transformation leader. What is the characteristics, most important characteristics of a transformational leader? Or how can be a leader, how a leader can be a transformational leader?
I'll answer this question, though I will mention here that this question cannot have a one sentence answer. But then, because you have actually picked up a very broad topic, it's like a wasp's nest. It's like a bee's nest. You put a finger into the bee's nest and so many bees will come out like that. But then to sum it all up, I would say a transformational leader is, sir, a people's leader, a people's man, which means somebody who will kneel down in front of people without a hint of anything in his mind. I will not mention the word ego purposefully, because it could be ego, it could be happiness, it could be sadness, it could be anything. A people's man who will continuously remain positive and always make sure that he is willing to listen. That's the basic of a transformational leader. Any other art or technique is just an add-on.
Leader himself expresses that I am here to listen to your problems. I am here to solve your problem. I am your leader.
Thank you, sir.
That's why that is the leadership. That means he is clear. That means he is sincere, very much interested for his staff. More than his, there is no ego, there is no captaincy. But I am the dearest friend of you in your problem. He displays it with boldness. That is the leadership, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So you have instilled in us a power to control our
we have a question
subordinates.
from one of the audience.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Our participants. We have a question here. Why should anyone become a leader? That's an interesting question, I think. Why should anyone become a leader?
There is no chance of anyone becoming a leader. There is no chance of anyone becoming a leader. Everybody is already a leader. It all depends, because you're a leader, you were always a leader. Every leader is different. Every leader has different perspectives. Like there is a principle called the Marston's principle. I again do not want to drag you back to this thing. There is something called the Marston's principle, which talks about exposure and experience. So I, being a leader of my own standard and my own stature, I have my own experience and exposure, which I come from. So what happens is, when I respond to a leadership situation, I respond with the help of my exposure, my previous experiences. So in my previous experience, if I had given 10 rupees or 10 dirhams to a friend of mine and he did not return it, the next time when somebody asks me for that same amount of money or a little more or a little less, I will definitely have this thing in my mind. Oh my God, am I going to get it back, or should I give it to him without any expectation that it is going to come back to me? So my own experiences and expectations are important. Likewise, every leader has their own perspectives. Everybody is a leader. It is just that some of us nurture to the next level, which is why somebody had just written that leaders are not born, leaders are made. And somebody had said this in the beginning of the session, that leaders are made. Leaders can be made. Leaders can be created. And this is I think there are many fine examples today, that there were people who were never, I have known people who are absolutely silent. They don't even speak. They didn't speak, and they have grown up to become wonderful leaders. And let me also tell you, the characteristics of leaders is such that, it is so dynamic that you cannot really even mark the characteristics of leaders. There are some leaders who have become leaders because of their speaking, and there are some leaders who have become leaders because of their listening. So they have listened more and spoken lesser, like that. So leaders, everybody wants, you do not want to be a leader, you are a leader, you like it or not. All you have to do is to now nurture your leadership capabilities. That's about it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful answer. I think we have time only for one more question. Is there anybody else asking? Otherwise, I have a question to ask. That's all.
Can I ask?
Only one more question, please.
Hello, Sunil, Dr. Sunil.
Yes. Yeah. Feroz sir, please.
Yes. Mr. Datta, you can sleep peacefully tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Big compliment.
Okay. My question is related to CIGI leadership. So, let me introduce myself. My name is Mohammed Feroz, previous CIGI International chairman for 2 terms.
He's the erstwhile chairman of International.
Okay. Yes, hi, sir.
We have many types of leadership around the world, from tribal to autocratic to democratic. But in an NGO like CIGI, we are unfortunately or fortunately unable to use the force, or we don't have any, like any political parties. We don't have that kind of liberties. All we show is our dream, our vision, and influence the people, and make them do whatever organization would like to do. What's your take on that for a leadership like CIGI and an NGO leadership? What is your take? And let me take the liberty to ask a second question, which is not related to this. We have seen in the mid 80s and the early 80s, when the Reagan was the president of US, there was a lot of actors coming as CM, like N.T. Ramarao, MGR, and so many other leaders. And after it has come, there are so many leaders, or chauvinist leaders, who have come into picture. I don't want to name anybody. And now the Biden has come. So do you think any change will happen in the world leadership? That is my question.
I am completely on your side of the the second question. I'll start with that. Honestly, I do not know how will people take this, but I am expecting change in the home first. World leadership second. Sorry I do not want to hurt anybody's political feelings, but then the India needs to have a change now. A lot of things have gone wrong in the past few years, but then I'll tell you what, with Biden being in the world leadership scenario now, it is definitely better than what it was in the last Definitely. Honestly, I had lost hope personally. And I'm being very personal here, which I should not be ideally, but I do not mind being, because this is like a family here. I had personally lost hope. And given an opportunity, me and my wife, we would leave India immediately. This is that kind of a situation. And honestly speaking, Biden on that seat gives me a ray of hope. We are yet to see, because he's just taken over. But he was a very dear associate of another gentleman who I personally really adored, which is Barack Obama. Given that string attached, I think there is, whatever happens now is going to happen good. Let us hope something good happens now. We have got two world leaders who are doing really well. In fact, actually more than two, but then at least Biden and Canada also has a good leader. He's doing his own best. We also have a very good leader in Dubai. Dubai is an amazing leadership story, right, starting from the king, previous king. But then, trust me onwards, the world seems very hopeful now. Some 1 year back, I was hopeless.
I hope you will not be another Amir Khan.
I'm sorry, sir.
Hope you will not become, another Amir Khan.
Another Amir.
I would leave if I get a chance.
Sir, I'm not able to hear.
He said, I would leave if I get a chance, Amir Khan got into trouble for saying that. No, you are muted.
Muted.
You are,
Sir, you are muted. Your voice is muted.
I'm muted. Okay. I'm saying Shibu is on my Facebook profile. He knows I am already into trouble. I don't really care as long as I'm in West Bengal. Other than that, let's see.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I think you have done a wonderful session for us. I would just read out one of the comments made by one of our participants. He has mentioned that we were muted. Otherwise, we would have applauded throughout the session.
Oh. Thank you.
Feeling for the participants and the viewers for your session, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Hand over to the MOC for further proceedings. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will read well tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil, for conducting the question and session. And thank you very much, Dutta sir, for this wonderful session. You can read out all the comments, the chat box.
I'm going to do that.
It's proof that this is a wonderful session and everyone is enjoyed. And I request all the participants to unmute yourself and give him a big round of applause.
They have not unmuted themselves.
Yeah. Otherwise, we can give a virtual round of applause.
I can see that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's a prayer time over it, so we need to conclude the session immediately. And once again, thank you so much for the.
Thanks to all of you for listening so patiently and hearing me out in spite of this one-way conversation. And but then, thank you so much. Thanks to all of you.
There are many hands that things make it a reality, like Shibu Patandita and Shabir from Dubai and Hanif Tayil from Abu Dhabi and many chapter leaders. And thank you all. And we are coming to end of the session. As for us, a great events come to a conclusion. It's important to show our gratitude to all the wonderful human beings involved in this success of the event. To propose the vote of thanks, I would like to invite Bahrain CIGI Chairman Shibu Patandita to propose vote of thanks.
muted now.
Yeah. Okay. I hope you can hear me.
Good.
Now, our respected chairman, CIGI International, and our president, Dr. Yasin Sahib, our international coordinator, Rukuddin Sahib, our MOC Mansoor, and our colleagues, and our today's chief guest, Mr. Shubbrato Dutta, is my. I just met him almost 6 years back, and we had a wonderful session in my previous company. We used to have in every year. Then I just texted him, okay, why don't you join with us? In one text, he's replied, why don't you? Let's plan it and give me a date. I'm really honored to be a part of CIGI. This is what I really, I'm very thanks to. I'm very delightful. He wanted to. I just sent him all activities. That after that he has texted me, Shubha, I want to be a part of CIGI. This is really amazing. Anyway, hope everyone enjoying the session, and thank you, sir, and thank you once again. Thank you all. Thank you for your wonderful time. Definitely we'll meet again, and there's time to wind up. Thanks a lot. Thank you for the participation, and wishing you a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
There is prayer time in UAE, especially. We can meet after later, no? Shall we close? Okay.
Okay. See you guys. Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.